So I
cool.
put together the website, put them all on there, and it was only like, I don't know, 10 or 15 freelancers at that time. It was not very many. And of course, it grew and grew and grew because there was definitely a need in the community for that we discovered. I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Chien here with Theme Park Arts Podcast number 5. We have a very special guest, Matheny. Yay! But you know what? You are the first woman on our show. So
Yes!
happy International Women's Day. I think that was just yesterday or
It was, yeah. Thank you.
This is really cool.
Thank you. Proud to represent.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So, in case you haven't heard of Melody Matheny, she's based in Orlando, Florida. Okay. She's worked with client projects SeaWorld, Ripley's, Universal, Nickelodeon, Busch Gardens, Merlin, Great Wolf Lodge, Falcon's Treehouse. And you do a lot of stuff. On your website, it says you do graphic design, but you also do signage design, attraction design, show set, logos,
Yes.
conceptual investment packages,
Yes.
theme design development packages, key art and Photoshop drawings, aerial illustrations as well. I saw some of those on your website. They're pretty good.
Thanks.
You do a little bit of everything.
I do.
So that's super cool. I'm happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
And yeah, do you want to? I was supposed to say, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I think you just
missed?
covered it all.
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm a senior scenic designer at Universal Studios in Orlando, and I'm the owner of Slice Creative Network, which is a local, well, actually it's a national, but mostly local network for creative freelancers in the theme park industry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I found out about you, and through the Slice Creative Network, I was able to get my last job at BRPH.
great.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Excellent.
So definitely, I owe a lot to Slice Creative Network. They're super fun.
Thank you. We try to be. We have a nice group of people.
Yeah.
Everybody's really supportive of each other, and lots of artists are always very supportive. But our group in particular is very kind, and we love to help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to our first question.
Okay.
And that's, how did you get started in the industry?
I grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I started working at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. And I started in the sign shop as a graphic designer, and eventually I ended up moving to SeaWorld in Orlando and working for their sign shop, and kind of graduated from there. I became an art director for the entertainment department. And from there, I moved on to working at cruise ports, and off I went. There was a ton of other things that I did after that. But essentially, my beginnings were at my local theme park in Williamsburg, Virginia, as a sign designer. And I was the one making the signs and weeding the vinyl and all of that. And
Wait,
that's how I started
when
out.
you said sign designer, I
Yeah.
mean, were you like painting them by hand, or
Yeah.
were you? Oh.
Yeah, we were fabricating all the signs by hand. There was some hand painting, of course, printing and designing on the computer as well. A variety of different techniques.
That's really cool. So you
Yeah.
really got a hands-on experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, when you were in like high school and stuff, did you know you want to go into theme parks, or you
Not
just
theme
fell into
parks.
it?
Yeah, not theme parks. I was very interested in the arts, of course, my whole life, and I was always kind of an artist and a painter and a sculptor and all these things growing up. And my mother worked at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. She worked in their she was like the telecommunications manager there, and so I was spending a lot of time at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, because of my mother, and so that's why I first started working there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you have like 15 years of experience. Can you talk a little bit about how you've grown since you were a sign designer to what you are now? How has your job and responsibilities changed?
Oh, wow. A lot over 15 years. I've continuously evolved basically because of the opportunities that I was given by my employers. by me continuously asking my employers for opportunities to do things. Like when I was designing signs, I said, okay, great, can I design these signs, but can I also design the back wall?
Oh.
And they'd say, sure, go ahead. And so I designed that, and they say, you did a great job on that. How about designing the whole room? How about designing the front of the building? And just kind of grew just from me asking and proving that I was, doing a good job and interested in the work. And over time, it was just, I learned all new programs with each company that I worked for. Whatever programs and protocols that they had for their companies is something that I adapted to very quickly and was always very open to learning more, and I still am. So it's just an evolution process based on your own instinctual need to learn more.
That's really cool. Yeah, I really like that aspect, how you're constantly learning more.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Second question.
Okay.
So, even though, Slice Creative Network, right, is a freelancing kind of thing, can you talk a little bit about what is it like to work as a freelancer opposed to being a full-time employee? What are some of the differences?
There's a lot of differences. As a freelancer, you're basically, of course, in charge of everything that you do, all of your clients, all of your taxes, all of your company expenses, and your reporting, your financial situation, right? As well as your health insurance, everything that you need to survive is all up to you, which is, it can be difficult, but once you get the hang of it and you feel comfortable with it, it becomes second nature, just like anything else. And some people find a freelance life great, and this is exactly the type of lifestyle that they want. And some people would prefer to work a full-time job, which offers, health insurance and all these other things that they provide you with. But mostly, I would say your time management is very different. In a full-time job, of course, your time is very much dictated by what your employer needs from you, and they're setting you up with meetings and, of course, all these different things. And as a freelancer, you have a little bit more control over that.
Yeah.
In saying when you're able to meet and when you're not. So there's a lot of those differences. Sometimes I compare full-timing and freelancing almost like being married or single. Only because I feel like when you're with a company, it's almost like you're in a relationship, right?
Yes.
You're in a relationship with another, a long-term relationship.
It's a big family.
Yeah, you're in a long-term relationship with a company, right? And as a freelancer, you're not.
Yeah.
You can choose which companies you want to work with. Mostly, some companies will come to you and you need to take that work, so you take it. But it all varies, and you have a lot more control over what you're doing from day to day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on how to get steady work as a freelancer? Like, what do you do when you don't have jobs, like during your time off?
I would say keep an open mind and don't limit yourself to what you want to be doing only. Like, let's say you do, aerial renderings and graphic design and logo design and all these different things, but you want to only be doing aerial design, aerial renderings. Don't limit yourself to just that. I would say open yourself up to all of the various disciplines that you think you're good at and can provide value for, and go for all of it. And you'll always find work because there's always something to do, right?
So it's like you're doing the work of like 2, 3, 4 different people. You can accept a lot of different responsibilities.
Yes, exactly. And it's just about keeping an open mind again, and pushing yourself and being totally honest with yourself, and finding whatever work is out there that you think you're able to do. And that from that, you're going to find more clients, and those clients will think that you're doing a great job, hopefully.
Okay.
And then they'll always refer you to more and more people.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about time management. All right, so I know being a freelancer, managing your own time, it's hard. Like, no one's watching you. Yeah. But what happens when, like, at my age, a lot of people are starting to have families? What is it like to manage your time when you have kids or have a family? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Any tips?
Yes. I have two small children. I have a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I just took my full-time job 1 year ago. So prior to that, I was stay-at-home-ish freelance mom. Mm-hmm. And how I managed it was I treat my freelance job like it was a full-time job. Mm. So as if I'm going into work every day, I had my child in daycare, a full day of daycare, and I would go home and just work all day and treat it exactly like you'd treat a full-time job. There was no difference other than the fact that when my kid needed me, I could take off and go grab her whenever I needed to, which was really valuable.
Oh, I see. Did you have like hard stop times? Like, hey, I'm stopping work at this time. Pick up your kid. Hey, like whatever the client needs, it'll be answered tomorrow. Like.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. Once I had children, those things became much more stringent, and I had to follow my own rules very, very closely. Of course, because the children need you, so you really don't have any other option other than to do that. So yes, I would have a hard start time and a hard stop time.
Yeah.
And then if I needed to, if people were desperate for something in the middle of the night, then of course, once I put the kids to bed, I could do a little something before I passed out.
Okay.
It's tiring being a parent.
Yeah. Wait, then before you had kids, did you work more hours?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I worked all the time.
Oh.
Weekends, nights, whenever.
Oh.
And it was very unhealthy. Don't do that.
Okay. Now, when you have kids, I heard that some people, they find themselves being even more productive. Are you able to still get the same amount of work done, or is it like less, more? Like.
I mean, I was always pretty efficient.
Uh-huh.
But I would say yes, parenthood will definitely make you an insanely good multitasker. Yeah, just handling the children and going from, especially I have 2 now, to handle their entire schedules, and you have to be very organized, and your brain just kind of learns to evolve and be able to handle multiple things at the same time, including your work. So yes, I would say that's absolutely true. I became a much better multitasker after I had children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, all right. I look forward to it.
Good luck.
All right.
Get your sleep now.
I hope. Okay. So Slice Creative Network. Could you tell us a little bit about why you started that? I know you started it in 2010, so about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. The 10-year anniversary is coming up, or
yeah.
has it?
Yep, okay. It's coming up. Mm-hmm.
So what was your motivation?
Yes, so I was an art director in the entertainment department at SeaWorld at the time that I came up with this concept. And basically I came up with it because we were hiring various freelancers for our work. And we just had kind of a hard time remembering who was out there. What was their website? What was that guy's name? Does he still live here? All these factors. And we just, every time we needed a freelancer, it was like we were starting back at square one. So I decided to keep a running list, bookmarks at that time in my browser of all the various freelancers. And eventually my coworkers and other people that I knew around town were like, they found out that I had this list.
Yeah.
And so they kept coming to me and saying, Melody, can I look at your list? Who do you have? Tell me this, tell me that.
Yeah.
And so eventually I said, let me just put it up on a website and you guys just look at it yourselves.
Oh.
So that's how it started. It was very simple. So cool. I put together the website, put them all on there, and it was only 10 or 15 freelancers at that time. It was not very many. And of course it grew and grew and grew because there was definitely a need in the community for that we discovered. So that's how it started.
Oh, very
cool.
It
started out of necessity.
Out of necessity,
yeah.
Like all great companies.
Yeah.
There's a need.
Yeah.
And it's scratching your own itch, I've heard.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. So last question. All right. It's about, in the news, social media, you've been hearing about it a lot, the coronavirus, how has that impacted maybe your work or the theme park industry? Like, do you have any thoughts about that? It's a really serious matter,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of changes happening around the world, obviously, with all of this, and the theme park industry is definitely reacting as well. and I don't know much about what those high-level theme parks and attractions companies are doing or what they will do. I have no idea. But what I do think will affect us as freelancers is the fact that many parts of the world are having to quarantine themselves now, and many of them are having to have their employees work from home. And I think that once all this is over, and many of these companies and nations experience this experience of working with people more from home, I think that's going to affect the freelance industry in an impactful way. Mm-hmm. I think most of these companies are going to realize exactly which roles they can have work from home effectively, and which roles that they do need in an office as a person. And I think it's going to become very clear to all companies what those needs are, and I think that's going to inform how they interact with freelancers and their current full-time employees in the future, and how they will maybe be able to allow a lot of them to work from home in the future. So we'll see what happens, but I'm keeping my eye on that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I read this article about, like, I don't know if it was Microsoft or something, but it said that when they shortened the work week from 5 days to 4 days, employee productivity like went up.
Yeah.
For full-time employees. So I think that's interesting, like unconventional ways of working and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And especially with the newer generations, I think, the era of our parents and grandparents' work ethics or work style, not ethics, is a lot different. And it will continue to be different. Our parents and grandparents may have, their goal was to get the full-time job and work at that company until they retire and they get the gold watch. And it's just not the way that we are today. We're continuously evolving, and many people, I read a report that most people have between 5 and 8 jobs, full-time jobs, in their career nowadays, and in many cases more than that. So obviously times have changed, and will continue to be that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for your time, Melody.
Thank you, Chris.
Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment below. What do you think about freelancers versus full-time? Have you had experience freelancing? Do you like full-timing better? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.